to a very special edition of the ASUG News Studio at SAP TechEd and dcode. Today, we're going to have the guys from Diversified Semantic Layer, or DSLayer as many may know it. To my left, I have Greg Myers, a terrific ASUG volunteer and an SAP mentor and a great voice in the BI space. And to my right, we have our resident Brit, Mr. Andrew Fox.
It's okay.
Who is a what do we say? What do we call you? SAP Analytics Evangelist.
That's it.
And then down at the end, a man that needs no introduction, Mr. Derek Larenka, also a great ASUG volunteer and SAP mentor. All three of these guys were up at 6 in the morning with me today, running on the Vegas Strip, dodging all sorts of drunk bros and everything.
Yep.
So with that, I'm not going to stand up here awkwardly for the next half hour. I'm going to turn it over to Greg and let him take over.
Very good. Thanks, Craig. I'd like to welcome everyone to this special edition of the Diversified Semantic Layer. I know the crowd up here looks a little bit different, but two of our regulars that are here, Eric Vallow and Clint Vosloo, are hastily preparing for Demo Jam tonight. So if you're here, please do not miss Demo Jam. It is one of the best events that we have here at TechEd. So thank you, Derek, and thank you, Andrew.
Thank you.
For coming to have a conversation with us tonight. So a couple of things we wanted to talk about, some of the things we've done so far, and some of the things we're looking forward to doing the rest of our time here. So Derek, you want to tell us a little bit about the event that we attended last night?
Yeah, sure. Last night, the data visualization team at SAP teamed with Doctors Without Borders to put on a competition / charity event for the Doctors Without Borders Foundation. So what it was that a wide range of people volunteered to learn, install SAP Lumira, and create dashboards and visualizations for the Doctors Without Borders team who are here in attendance for a variety of different reasons. So we had everybody from folks who had never even seen or can even spell Lumira to folks who are experts in Lumira working together as teams to build brand new dashboards.
So who are the Doctors Without Borders?
So the Doctors Without Borders organization, and if you've been following the news, given today's latest crisis, World Health Organization crisis, is a outreach and I don't want to say evangelization, but an outreach and community health organization. Their abbreviation is actually MSF, is a French-based organization that will helps with world health outbreaks and bringing medicine to countries that don't really have a lot of that infrastructure for medicine. So doctors will volunteer for periods of time to go to lesser developed countries to administer medical care and preventative health acts for these countries.
So Andrew, what was your favorite part of the event last night?
Favorite part was the community getting involved. So it wasn't just the technical geeks, the data geeks, which I play in. It was people from all walks of life, all different types of companies, just getting fun, working for something which is of value, and just really learning technology about how it can change lives. So the sort of things they were doing was looking at data sets coming from Médecins Frontières, DSF, and looking at those data sets at how people were being placed, why people were leaving the organization, why people were staying for only a few months. So really looking at their data just to give them some insights which they weren't finding themselves.
Excellent. So one of the funny things that came out of last night for me, so Andrew and I were on the same team. They wouldn't let us all compete together. It wouldn't have been fair, but
we tried.
So anyway,
we did try, yeah.
Andrew and I having experience with the tools and with data sets and being able to do some pretty fancy things sometimes, we thought. He and I both swung for the fence, and we were trying to do some really fancy stuff, and we ended up not being able to do absolutely anything. It totally failed, but I think we opened about 18 bug tickets with SAP Product Group. They were all there that couldn't figure out why the product wasn't working the way it was supposed to. But the best part was, a guy on our team, fellow mentor, Chris Kernigan, he had never used Lumira before. He totally saved our bacon. He came through and made these awesome visualizations. He had like timelines playing, showing how the volunteers were going in and out of countries over time, and it was playing as an animation.
Yep.
So we ended up taking second place, so I'll take it.
Second place is good.
Well, we came in close to the bottom, my team, but it was, we call ourselves originally Team Christina after our SAP expert, Christina Aubry from SAP, but in reality we changed our name to Team Noobs, because we had 4 individuals who had never even opened or looked or probably could even spell Lumira until last night.
Yeah.
So rather than trying to say, all right, let's build some really cool visualizations, it became, they wanted to learn the tool. So we sat there, we imported the data, it was go and play. It's like, oh, look, I found this correlation between the contracts were lasting 12 months and everyone, was actually staying or leaving base right on their time, so no one was being held back or no one was being dismissed early. So they were helping for as long as they said they were going to be helping. It's like, well, you just discovered that in 60 minutes in a brand new tool that you never even had opened. So the Doctors Without Borders folks got dashboards and insight into their data, whereas the attendees got a fantastic chance just to play with something they'd never played with before. So I mean, it was a win-win for everybody. Plus, they was providing free beer and pizza, which
always goes down.
Which always goes well with data challenges like that.
So it certainly speaks to. I know that's sort of the goal of that tool, is to allow people that aren't necessarily technical to be able to discover things in data very easily. So at the end of the event, the Doctors Without Borders representative that was there took a thumb drive home with all of those visualizations that were created for them. So they basically got all of this consulting work for charity. It was great. So they get to take all that back and they can work off of all the work that was done by all the volunteers that were there last night to then further it and learn more things about their own data back in-house. So.
Well, and the one thing they said, which I thought was fantastic, was we learned that our data that we gave you we thought was clean, it wasn't clean. That's a takeaway that they weren't even expecting. They were expecting to come out with these visualizations and come out with all of these pretty charts and insights. The most important insight they got was that we thought we were doing this right, and turns out that we have more work to do. And that is fantastic for them because it gives them another bar to set to move on.
Excellent.
Another thing they were saying was they brought the data in for us to look at because so many people in their organization just use Microsoft Excel.
Yep.
And they literally going through an example where people are using tally sheets, literally one of those on a tally sheet. And what they were trying to get at was the art of the possible. Rather than the guys in their offices never being excited or motivated or challenged, is here's what you can do. This is how easy it is. We did it in half an hour. We did it in 20 minutes. Given more time, more effort, just imagine what they can get out of it. So it was a real motivator for their internal organization.
Yeah, it's not scary.
Yeah, dead easy, as we proved.
So Doctors Without Borders is a volunteer, and it's a volunteer organization. It's funded mostly through charity. If you go to look on the SAP Community Network, scn.com, and search for Doctors Without Borders, there's a bunch of missions there where you can complete to help to give and to inspire others to give to Doctors Without Borders. I believe they told us last night that SAP is like the #3 contributor to their fund at the moment. So I know that they would definitely appreciate any type of support that you can give.
I think we need to give a call out to Marilyn Pratt for all the organisation and how she did that. Fantastic motivator, really encouraging to everybody who was there, and a real credit to the community feel, which I'm picking up as a first-time visitor here.
Absolutely.
Huzzah. Agreed. So what was next on our list there, Greg? What do we got next on our list?
So next,
our hit list.
We want to talk a little bit about tips for surviving TechEd for those who may not have ever been or are thinking about coming. Right?
Or are here and realizing that we're almost done or halfway through and they still have no idea how they're going to make the rest of the week.
and I also have to think that TechEd Las Vegas is a little different than the others.
Oh, yes.
I think
so, Andrew, this is your first TechEd.
It's my first TechEd in the US.
In the US.
I've been to the European ones a couple of times, so it was a real adventure for me to come over to the US. Been over here as a tourist a number of times, but coming to Las Vegas for the first time, eye-opening. So you mentioned the fun run we did this morning. I did a pre-run of that on Sunday morning, so to try and beat the jet lag. And I was surprised by the type of individuals on a Sunday morning, so left over from Saturday night, who, as I was running down the street, was either high five from ladies of the night or people still wobbling as they were heading home to their hotels. Yeah, it was enlightening, shall we say.
Not called Sin City for nothing.
Yeah. I learned that.
So, Derek, what's one tip you can share for surviving 5 days in Las Vegas?
I think the number one tip, I think everyone would agree with me, is hydrate, but not necessarily hydrate in the Sin City mode.
Yep.
Because the air, while oxygenated on the casino level and maybe not so much in the actual room level, it's very dry. I mean, usually the sultry sounds of Greg and my voice that some of the audience are probably used to doesn't sound like we normally do. And that's, you're either always talking because you're always networking. If you're presenting, you obviously have to project your voice. if you're even on the show floor and you want to be heard, you're talking louder than normal. Make sure to drink a lot of non-alcoholic beverages before you drink alcoholic beverages, if you're interested in that thing. But that hydration and that ability to not feel bad is what's going to save your entire week here. Because if you feel lousy, you're not going to get what you wanted to get out of it.
Yes, that actually leads into, I guess, my one tip that I've heard year over year. So we talked about the run, but it's a marathon and not a sprint. You really have to pace yourself, and you can't just come in. You come in fresh, whether you're jet lagged or not. But the first day, you're like, ooh, shiny. You have to take it easy and pace yourself. Pick the sessions that are important. Get to those. Get some sleep.
Yes.
Yep. Don't party too hard.
Definitely.
Yeah.
All right, Andrew, so tip number 2, surviving tech ed.
My tip number 2 would be get stuck in. So, as some people know me, I'm a fairly active user of social media. Follow you guys, done a few things with you guys in the past. But my credit to you guys in particular and the rest of the DSLayer team are, you're approachable. So if you're walking down the corridor, you see somebody who you know on Twitter, walk up, say hi. I've had more hugs from people I've never met before. I've chatted to them on social media brilliantly, but suddenly, hi, how are you doing? Haven't seen you, lovely you're here. So don't be afraid, get stuck in, have a go, because people are very, very welcoming.
Yeah.
I think that was kind of stole my tip there.
Oh, sorry, buddy. I've got another one.
You're absolutely right in the fact of that networking. It's extending your network. So it's reach out to folks. Like I said, you're talking about the familiar, someone you might see. Unfamiliar actually can make your entire week and your investment for coming here. You might find a new job, but more importantly, you might find someone that is doing in a company you never would have thought to chat about is doing and having the same problem you are. And in a 30-minute session over at the coffee bar, you're able to commiserate and say, I had that same problem. How did you fix it? Therefore, you're coming to 17 sessions and coming home with all those PDFs is fantastic, but you're actually coming home with a working solution based on a conversation. That's going to get you further and make your bang for your buck than just having a thumb drive with a buttload of PDFs.
Yeah. Very good. Yep. I guess my second tip would be that if you're not on Twitter, you should be at a conference like this, because there's a lot of stuff flying around there that you can get. But if you are on Twitter, you should follow the hashtag for this event, which is SAPTD for TechEd and Decode this time. But people that you don't necessarily follow are talking about, because they're here too, and you might meet someone else or have someone else has an insight. I always find at least 20 or 30 more people I want to follow every time I'm at a conference just from following the hashtag. So don't just stick with the familiars, try to reach out into other people that are here, because like Derek said, there's connections to be made by being here, and that's a huge value of that.
Yeah, that business network, massively. I've got another one.
Okay.
Go for it.
Really simple as a tourist, wear comfortable shoes. On the flight on the way over, pick myself up an unbranded motion detecting device.
Yes.
I'm walking 20 Ks a day. So the show floor's big, but the hotel rooms are miles away. So it's not, you can pop back in between a session. When you come for the day, bring your backpack, bring your water bottle, be prepared to be out for a fair amount of time, because you want to meet guys, and at the end of the day, you want to catch up with them, that business networking, go out for dinner unexpectedly, but make sure you're ready for a long haul.
For US folks, 20K is about 12 miles.
Okay. I'll split
Wait, I was going to figure that one out, but I did it already. I think once again, tying into what Andrew just said, it's not just the shoes, it's the entire outfit. A lot of folks will go to Sapphire ASUG annual conference, and that event tends to be more towards executives and end users. So it's a different aura about the event. I don't want to say it's stuffy, because it's not. It's more business professional insofar as the dress code, and insofar as a lot of the interactions and events that come out from that. Whereas TechEd, I mean, if the cameras pan, you see people wearing jeans. You'll see folks wearing shorts. While not truly a developer event, being a technical event, folks are able to let loose a little bit. Although you will see, I have noticed you'll see more pack mules at an event like this than you will at annual conference, because techies like their stuff, and you will see people with 100-pound Sherpa rucksacks full of computers and iPads and gadgets, whereas one guy in a suit carrying an iPad is going to do the same thing possibly. So it's think light, be light, act light.
I guess my what are we on? Third down. Third tip.
Third and final.
If at all possible, plan ahead and stay where the conference is. Stay here in the hotel because it's so nice to have a home base to run back and forth to. I mean, it certainly sometimes cost is a factor and you have to go across the way, but it's so nice to be able to go back and forth if you need to change, if you have to go take a nap, if you have to whatever, right?
Okay, the jet lag was bad, all right?
The jet lag is bad. It's nice to just sort of have a base of operations that's right here. You're not too far. I mean, it's still a hefty walk over the hotel from the conference center, but you know, it's a lot better than going all the way across the street because Vegas blocks are like New York City blocks. They are long.
On the ads, remember the number of streets are short in New York. You know, I do have one more before we transition.
We've all got one more.
My last one is going to be, don't be afraid to come out to the people in the shirts. Greg and I have these bright blue shirts. They're black and past years. ASUG volunteers have a crest over here that says an ASUG volunteer. You know, badges all have roles on them. Don't be afraid to come up. We're not saying we're not going to launch another suit hugger campaign, but don't be afraid to talk to those folks. If folks are wearing those badges, you might want to call them a badge of honor, badge of shame, however you want to word it. If they're wearing those badges, for better or for worse, they're asking to say, I'm part of the community, we're here to help. So if you've got a question and you recognize someone in a blue shirt or you recognize an ASUG volunteer from the pamphlet saying that, oh, they work in my area, go and talk to them by all means because what you're going to get out of that conversation is going to matter.
Yep. I think my final one was around, we keep linking off each other, which is quite funny.
It's a good riff.
It's around asking questions. So I was here as invited as a speaker, and my presentation style was really relaxed, and I like questions. So I would flip the coin and say, as an attendee, come with those questions you just want to ask. It's been burning in the back of your head, or if you don't think nobody else is interested, they probably are. So when it comes to Q&A time, stick your hand up in the air. Don't be afraid, because that's when you get your questions answered. That's your value for coming. But also as a community, you're sharing knowledge, which is even better. So as a presenter, we love questions. The encouragement as an attendee, come up with a list of them. Make sure you catch a speaker at the end of the session, grab them. The guys in the shirts, grab them. We like talking about stuff.
So on the list thing as well, one thing I always try to do at the end of conference before, while I'm sitting waiting for my plane or while I'm on the plane going home, is to just jot down a list of the top 5 things that I take away. What did I learn? What's important? And then if you're really feeling bold, share it. Write a blog. SCN, you can blog for free. Share to everyone else. This is what I got out of this. And that's meaningful too, especially the people that were there, you know, sharing information with you. Like, well, if it was one of those things, that made my trip, right? If someone came to something that I presented and they learned something from it, awesome, right? That's why we're here. So, cool.
Check.
Any other tips?
Trying to look back in there. Stop in at the little booths. Not just the sales booths, but they're the expert networking lounges, the little things that might surprise you. And that would be my last takeaway. When you come to the show floors, you know, swing by here, say hello as you walk by, but hit those little show booths because there's going to be a little tidbit of information, like you mentioned, that may just make your day.
Yeah, there's a lot of product managers around. So in the technical booths, if you want to have your say about what you want in the next set of the product, let's look at Lumira for an example. There's stuff in there, people saying, oh, I'd really love to have that in there. Go tell somebody, they are here to listen. The more people who tell them, what a surprise, they go higher up the list.
And you know, whenever you go up to one of the SAP product group people and you say something and they go, that's good feedback, you just,
you nailed it.
We did that 18 times last night, wasn't it?
Just about. All right, guys, anything else, or should we?
That's good for me.
Move on to the next.
What do we got next?
So, to sort of wrap things up, we prepared a special top 10 list
we did.
Share with you in the David Letterman style. So we have top 10 things we love about SAP Lumira. So we'll start with number 10 and head on down. So, all right, you guys ready?
I'm ready. You ready?
All right. So number 10 is mash, mangle, and merge.
So,
all right, number 9.
Pretty picture.
Number 8.
Storyboards to make Mother Goose jealous.
Number 7. Infographic inception.
Number 6. Everyone's favorite. All of the descriptive error messages you get out when you have a bug.
Number 5.
It's easier to share than Ebola.
Number 4. The low price.
So,
Number 3.
Lumira makes me look smarter because people don't know if I'm talking about an SAP product or a prescription drug.
Number 2.
Unlike Tableau, IT departments have nothing to worry about.
All right, and the number one thing we love about SAP Lumira are the release cycles that are more regular than I am. All right, and on that note, I'd like to thank ASUG News for allowing us to defile your stage for about 20 minutes or so. Stay tuned. We're coming up next at 6 p.m. Pacific is another round of So You Think You Know SAP. There's going to be some fierce competition there. So please, if you're here, make the time to come to Demo Jam tonight. It is American Idol for Geeks. You will not be disappointed. It is going to be a great show. With that, thank you very much.